Hey everyone, today we're digging into Affirm's latest shareholder letter, and there's something really interesting inside. Most companies, as they get bigger, they just try to get faster, right? But what's so cool about Affirm is they've built a system to actually get smarter. What they've built is this really powerful data flywheel that's not just about speed, but about a deep-seated asset, trust. So inside Affirm, they have this mantra from the cycling legend Greg LeMond. It's all about pure grit and pushing through. And this is the really cool part, Affirm CEO takes this idea and completely flips it on its head. He's kind of saying, hang on, for our business, maybe the race is supposed to get easier. All right, so let's jump into our first section here, more than just payments. While that get faster idea is awesome for an athlete, Affirm's leadership is asking a question that really challenges how you think about scaling a business. I mean, think about it. What if, unlike that bike race, your whole business was engineered to get more efficient, more intelligent, and easier the bigger it gets? You see, for Affirm, the entire answer to that question is baked right into the design of their data network. And that right there brings us to the core of their whole strategy, the data network effect. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's really profound when you think about it. Growth isn't just about adding more customers. It's about making the entire system smarter with every single transaction. Okay, so here's the key way to think about this. You can't just think of Affirm as, a button you click at checkout. The CEO wants you to think of it more like a message router. But these aren't just simple little pings. Every single message is this rich packet of data. Who's buying what, from where, and what's the risk involved? I mean, we're talking about the financial DNA of every single purchase. And this slide, wow, it really lays it all out. So on the left, you've got your legacy networks. They just move around data light messages. So over time, you can see that value curve. It just kind of flattens out. Sure, a new user adds revenue, but it doesn't really make the product any better. But then you look at Affirm's model on the right. Every transaction feeds the network with rich data, making the entire product smarter for everyone. And that's why their value curve just keeps going up and to the right. It's a totally different game. And all of this creates this incredible self-reinforcing flywheel. Here's how it works. Okay, so step 1, get more data from every transaction. Step 2, use all that data to build way better models for everything. Credit, fraud, you name it. Step 3, those smarter models lead to better results, like more approvals for good customers and more sales for merchants, which, of course, leads to step 4, attracting even more consumers and merchants to the platform. And what does that do? It brings you right back to the top, generating even more data and accelerating the whole cycle. So you've got this amazing high-tech flywheel spinning, but what keeps the whole thing from just flying apart? Well, it's something actually pretty old-fashioned: trust. And it's funny, the connection it's fundamental. It's right there in the word itself. Credit comes from the Latin word for trust, and Affirm puts this into practice at a crazy scale. I mean, get this, they made about 40 million data-informed decisions to trust consumers in just the last quarter. That's insane. And you gotta remember, it's not a one-way street. It's not just Affirm trusting us. It's a three-sided asset. You've got consumers who trust Affirm with their data because they're transparent, right? No hidden fees. You've got merchants who trust them to actually boost their sales. And then you have the capital partners who trust Affirm to manage risk properly. The whole thing is like a three-legged stool. If one leg breaks, the whole model collapses. And that's really the bottom line here. Even though they're sitting on something like 6 petabytes of data, which is a mind-boggling amount, their leadership is crystal clear. Their most important asset isn't the data itself. It's the trust that makes it all possible. Okay, so that's the how and the why of the strategy, a data flywheel powered by trust. But does it actually work? Is it making them money? Well, let's take a look at the numbers because, honestly, they're pretty staggering. All right, first up, gross merchandise volume. You'll hear this called GMV. It's just the total value of all the stuff people bought using their platform. They hit a record-breaking $10.8 billion. And get this, that's up a massive 42% from the year before. That's the power of the network right there. So all that shopping, all that volume, it translated directly to their top line. We're talking $933 million in total revenue. That's a 34% jump, which just shows how well they turn all that activity into actual income. And now for the number that really, really matters to Wall Street. See, this shows it's not just about getting bigger for the sake of getting bigger. The flywheel is profitable. They delivered a positive net income of $181 million. This proves the whole model we've been talking about. It's not just big, it's actually sustainable. Okay, now this chart is super interesting because it shows you what's driving a lot of that growth. Basically, their 0% APR loans are their super popular interest-free products. So look, overall growth, that first bar is a super impressive 42%. But then look at the second bar. That's just the 0% APR stuff. It grew by a whopping 64%. It tells you their most trusted, transparent products are the ones that are absolutely catching fire. Now, it's not just about online checkout anymore. A huge part of their strategy now is the actual physical Affirm card. It lets you use their platform pretty much anywhere. And man, have they scaled this thing fast. They're already at 2.8 million active cardholders. And it's not like people are just signing up and putting it in a drawer. No way. Those cardholders are super active. Check this out. They drove a 135%. That's not a typo, 135% explosion in transaction volume on the card in just 1 year. That's not just a product with users. That is a product with deep, deep engagement. Okay, so the flywheel is spinning, the card is taking off. But what's the other half of the equation? Distribution. Affirm isn't just waiting for people to find them. They are weaving their network right into the biggest names in commerce. And they are absolutely supercharging their growth with some huge partnerships. I mean, we're not talking about a button on some small-time website here. They've extended their deal with Amazon, they're going global with Shopify, and they've signed massive payment processors like WorldPay. Each one of these deals just weaves Affirm deeper and deeper into the very fabric of how we shop. So this table is a really cool peek behind the curtain at how they're doing with these integrations. You can see they're live with most of their partners online, and they're building out their in-store options. But the real prize, the column you really want to watch, is that one on the far right, default payment status. Getting that default spot, I mean, that's the holy grail. That is the blueprint for just massive, massive scale. So this all brings us right back to where we started. Back to this idea that Affirm isn't just a payment company, but this intelligent network that routes messages. And this leads us to the final thought, the one that really looks to the future. The CEO ends his letter not with a big statement, but with a question. He asks, if you've built a network this powerful, this intelligent, and this trusted for credit decisions, what other kinds of messages might we route on Network Affirm? It's a question that completely reframes the company. They're not just a buy now, pay later company anymore. They're positioning themselves as a fundamental platform for the future of commerce. And that is a really big idea.